Kurt rolled forward through the hills. His mood was down. He was alone. No guards or protection. No, that wasn't quite true. Julia was with him. At least her remains were, bundled in blankets and wrapped tight. He brought her on a desperate last attempt to save her. In his travels he had heard a rumor of a way to save someone from beyond death. It was a long shot. It was all he could think of. He couldn't abandon her, not after all she had done for him. Into the rocky hills his cart lurched forward. His horse whined at the work, but they kept trudging forward. The fat man shifted nervously. He knew this was difficult. Sitting beside him was the one crutch he had. The merchant had coughed up his very last coin to acquire a spellbook and a staff. He was no warrior, and too old to be in a contest of strength. No, if he was going to survive, he'd have to use his head. That meant relying on magic. Every night, he spent his time reading and practicing until he was exhausted. Would have spent a few more days in town preparing if time wasn't of the essence. He looked over his shoulder at the bundle of cloths behind him. Something red and yellow streaked through the blue sky above. It was fast, about the size of an eagle. He had found it. A phoenix. Kurt's prayers rested on this strange bird. He ushered the horse forward. The ground quickly became too hard to traverse by cart. Huffing and puffing, he brought Julia's body over his shoulder. Leaning on his staff, he started the climb. The air was sweet with the scent of heavy spices. Hefting his load up a small ridge, Kurt found himself facing a tiny valley. It was flush with green foliage. Watching out for roots, the man forced branches aside. He had heard of this place by a companion years ago when he first started out, but had never dared to venture forth. There had never been any need, nor was it worth the danger. He always heard stories of those who went seeking danger and found more than they could handle. Perched on a small stone spire in a pond was a brilliant bird. It radiated heat and light that guided Kurt in. Red, yellow, and even purple feathers framed the bird. It was the size of an eagle with long legs and a stunning plume on its head. "Ah, there you are," he sighed. Now the real work began. Setting down the bundle, he pulled his limited magic and parried his spell, not knowing if this would even work. Hello, welcome back to Mythical Philology, fellow adventurers. I'm your guide, Jason. The phoenix is incredible. That is no mere hyperbole. This is a fascinating creature, one which any adventurer would be interested in for many reasons. Let's take a look at why such a bird is of legend. The phoenix is a bird about the size of an eagle. It is described as being red and yellow, with variations also having other colors, including purple. Around it glows a small halo of light. Some have flames on their bodies. Truly a beautiful sight. But a pretty bird wouldn't gain the attention of so many people, right? No. What makes the phoenix so fascinating is that it is immortal. Well, not exactly. If a phoenix is slain, it will burst into flames and a new phoenix chick will rise from the ashes. In a few minutes, the phoenix will grow to its full adult size. It seems this creature has beaten death altogether. How? Are there any animals which are immortal? Yes. Teratopsis dohroni. Sorry, that name is hard to pronounce, and yeah, that means nothing to you. But the immortal jellyfish is a more common name. Jellyfish have two major stages in the life cycle. The polyp, which is stationary and buds off into the medusa portion, which you'll probably think of when I say jellyfish. Now, our immortal jellyfish can revert from the medusa phase back to the polyp stage when it grows old. Okay, we can use this as the baseline for the phoenix. We can rework the phoenix's reproductive system in emergencies and rely on self-cloning process called parthenogenesis. This will need to be a rapid response, taking seconds to complete. This is not really reproduction, but more of the phoenix's reincarnation. It has the same memories, so we need to have a way to copy the phoenix's brain to the new body. To do this, we'll need to have a very powerful nerve pathway to connect the brain to the potential fetus. This will require a rapid influx of neurotransmitters into the quickly developing brain. Okay, with that done, we need to get the whole developmental process to be completed in seconds. This means a few things. First off, it will need nutrients to complete. The most readily available nutrients will be its own body. The phoenix will cannibalize its own body to fuel the rapid growth. Now, metabolic processes all release heat. This same heat can be the source of the fire and further fueled by the phoenix's innate flame magic. Because of this, the phoenix's developmental proteins and process need to be recalibrated to operate under such heat. This will need to be different than those found in the phoenix's eggs, else the nest would combust. The heat has a second benefit: protection. During the reincarnation phase, the phoenix will be vulnerable, easy prey for a predator. These flames will help shield the phoenix in these dangerous moments. What triggers all this? Well, it seems to be an innate spell to the phoenix. They are deeply magical creatures. They don't even eat traditional seeds and berries. No, the phoenix's diet is comprised on different incenses and spice. Frankincense, myrrh, and cinnamon at different times in its life cycle. The life cycle has another issue. There is a debate on how long a phoenix lives before catching fire. It seems to be between 500 to 1500 years, depending on the source. What is going on here? The magic to reincarnate must take a while to gather. There is no way that it wouldn't be a difficult process. Potentially, this means there could be a cooldown period between times the phoenix could reincarnate. In theory, you could permanently kill a phoenix, if you can kill it during this time period. This means that the phoenix could be skittish at this time. A way to estimate that if the phoenix can regenerate is if it can emit flames. This will be a measure of the magical power within its body. If the flames dwindle, the magic is weak, and it may not be able to reincarnate. The phoenix is not known for its battle prowess. It has sharp claws and a beak, but the same as any other bird of prey. This means they will rely on diving attacks. You would have to rake your eyes and slash you to do any harm. It could throw flames at you if it has enough power. The truth is, the phoenix isn't a combatant. They are more prone to flying away than to fight you. If you do need to battle them, range is your best bet. A bow and arrow would be great for this. Just use a metal one. Wood would catch fire. If you know magic, I would choose telekinetic magic. Throwing rocks will crush its bones. Ice magic is questionable depending on if it can bring the flames up as a defense. If it can't bring up the flames, then ice magic may work. Potentially, firing water at high velocity would work. Enough water will make it difficult to ignite the flames. Fire requires three things: oxygen, ignition source, and fuel. The ignition source and the fuel source come from within the phoenix. The oxygen? It has an initial amount within its lungs, but after that it will need more oxygen from the surroundings. That initial burst of flames cannot be prevented. Sorry, the phoenix will always have everything it needs for that. And the initial burst is also an attack. You'll need to keep your distance from it. Second, what sort of protection do you need? Drop the metal. If you're wearing plate, that metal will just get seared to your skin. While cloth can catch fire, you can douse it in water to make it safer. Fire is a damage over time effect. It will take time to hurt you. If you have fire protection enchantments and potions, have them ready. A waterfall or water shell spell will also shield you. Sorry, but melee weapons are mostly useless here. Tell me, have you ever tried to hit a bird with a bat or club? Not easy. Oh, and fire magic will have even less use. Lightning will work a little better, but I'd use most other forms of magic. Be careful with any magic that grows plants, where they can catch fire. The phoenix isn't a powerhouse in battle, despite its magical power. It isn't aggressive. It isn't equipped with the perfect weapons for battle. No, it is the manifestation of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. This is why I can only give the phoenix a lowly 2 of 10 for difficulty. Far from a fearsome foe. But why would you try to kill it? Yes, why kill it? A phoenix will often gravitate to great leaders. Yes, they will naturally flock around such individuals. They are loyal companions. They can scout for you and provide warmth on cold nights. Yet that is not their real worth. The phoenix is a treasure trove of magical resources. Let's start with the feathers. At the most basic, feathers can be used as kindling to start a fire. But that is a waste of its magical potential. They can be used as cores for staves and wands. These wands will have a natural affinity for fire magic. Additionally, they are sought by alchemists to create potions to start fires, salves which will prevent burns. Yet that isn't the potential that I am seeking. Those same feathers can be used in many healing potions. The down of the feathers can be used with the correct incantation. You can even revive those who are dead. This will use the flames to simulate a healing spell, equal to its own reincarnation. There are limits to what it can heal though, yet even those limits can be overpowered. If you can get the injured or dead person to absorb the energy during the phoenix's reincarnation, you can revive the dead. You'll want a focus device to absorb the energy and channel it. This is advanced magic to be sure. It will take a skilled or a very lucky mage to pull this off. Kurt gripped the staff in his hand. The wood was rough. This wasn't a brand new staff. Working his limited magical knowledge, he cast a proper spell. A few stones by his feet levitated into the air. With a wave of his hand, he sent them flying towards the brilliant colored bird. It squawked as it took off. Not good. The merchant tried once more. He flung whatever he could with his pitiful spell control. Sticks, stones, and a little bit of water splashed out of the pond. None of it hit the phoenix. It soared around the merchant. Stopping before him, it flapped its wings. Small embers were thrown about. Smiling, Kurt cast one final quick spell. A single stone flew backwards towards the phoenix and the caster. It struck the bird square in the back, causing it to tumble into the dirt. Kurt crept forward, his small knife raised up. Nervously, he plunged the dagger into the phoenix. Flames erupted before he could pull his hand back. Clutching his scalded hand within was a single feather. He rushed back to the bundle of cloths behind him. The feather in his hand grew warmer with every second. Throwing back the fabric, he exposed the fallen Julia's white face. She was as cold as ice to the touch. Pushing her mouth open, he stuck the feather inside. Behind him, the phoenix rose once more. Cawing, it rose higher and higher before flying off. Kurt turned back to the dormant Julia. He trembled as he watched. Would it work? It had to work. Please work. Nothing. Nothing was happening. It failed. Kurt collapsed to the ground in failure. A sound like the crackle of a fire drew his eyes. Julia was glowing. The man began to cry. Yes, yes, it was working. Coughing, the woman rolled over in the blankets. Julia! Julia, the man sobbed. You're alive! You're alive! Kurt, the woman whimpered. She was weak, but she was alive. Kurt had pulled off a miracle. The phoenix is a marvelous creature to be sure, but horribly threatening. Thank you for watching, fellow adventurers. Please return next week. I feel that the healing magic would be a good topic. Until then, safe travels.